All right, we did it once. Let's do it again. Let's look at more games that are essential for any NES collection. Since the last NES Essentials video, I did pick up a few more games. I have 128 left in the NES collection that I need to pick up. So you know what? We're here. We might as well talk about some of the games I left out in that last video. Let's look at some more NES Essentials. We're gonna look at comments from you folks on that last video. Comments like this one from Woodman Classics. Travis says that Lolo 3 is the GOAT. Lolo 3 is an amazing game in an amazing series of puzzle games. Definitely one you should check out. Listen to Travis. He knows what he's talking about for sure. We're gonna look at more games here, more comments as we go, so let's get into it. For those of you that didn't watch the first video, this is not a best of list. This is just games that I think are essential to have in a Nintendo Entertainment System collection. There's another video, totally talk about games in there. If they're not featured in here and you're yelling at your phone saying, where is this game? It could be in the other one. If it's not in that one, it's not in this one. Definitely leave me a comment letting me know what I missed. The first game I want to talk about in this list is one that, along with another one in this list, created a whole genre of video games. This one created something that stood the test of time, and it's gonna be Metroid. Metroid came to us in North America on August 15th, 1987. This is an action adventure game. Like I said, this one created the genre, that Metroidvania genre. This is such an incredible game. Getting to play as Samus, hunting through that world. This was so original, so creative back when it first came out. Honestly, Metroid is a classic and an iconic game. It's a game that started it all for that genre and for that whole franchise of Metroid. Metroid, the first one on the NES, is one that we used to talk about on the playground, one that everyone knew about. Even if you didn't play it as a kid, like I wasn't playing this one as a kid, I couldn't understand it, I couldn't figure it out back then, you still knew about it and you still knew what it was. If you were playing Metroid back then, you definitely wanted paper and a pencil so you could draw a map as you were going, because the world in this one is pretty crazy. And it is a little sad there was no map, but with the technology restrictions back then, it's understandable why we got what we got. And even at that point, this is an amazing game. You'll be able to figure it out. You'll have to track back a few times, but this is such an amazing game. That original Metroid on the Nintendo is definitely an essential game in any NES collection. It's such a great game. Definitely one I would highly recommend. If you haven't played it, check it out. You know what? It's going to be a little difficult, but nowadays you don't have to go through word of mouth. You can literally use the internet, get a walkthrough, have fun playing it, touch that walkthrough when you need to know where to go next. If you get a little lost, you get a little confused, you could also just pull up a map. That's going to help you out a lot. But the original Metroid on the Nintendo, 100% essential game to have in any collection. The next game on this list that I want to talk about, Bennett Fox, you're absolutely right. I definitely pictured it, and I can't believe I didn't mention it either. It's gonna be RC Pro-Am. In North America, RC Pro-Am was released in February of 1988. This is a racing game that was developed by Rare and published by Nintendo. This is such a cool looking racing game. We're racing around, we're controlling these RC cars, racing around a track against other RC cars. We have those collectible power-up items that improve our performance. There's hazards that include rain puddles and oil slicks, and missiles and bombs that can temporarily disable our opponents. RC Pro-Am has 12 unique track configurations that just get repeated indefinitely. But on the original box art, the game actually claimed that it contained 32 tracks of racing thrills. But they do just repeat. They do get more difficult as you go, but there is actually only 12 tracks that you're going to be racing. This one's awesome because it has those tune-up items. including that turbo acceleration, those hot engines for those higher top speeds, some super sticky tires for traction and cornering, and a lot of other little things you can do while you're playing this. RC Pro-Am is such a great game. This is one that we're all going to look back on and absolutely love, including people like Chance3217 here says RC Pro-Am is a must try for anybody. It's such a great game that most people overlook. Another great game that most people don't think about too much is Life Force. He says it's just like Gradius. And Chance, you're totally right. Both of those games are awesome. RC Pro-Am had to land on this list because it is so cool. So much so that RC Pro-Am sold 2.3 million copies on the NES. That's an unqualified success for Rare back then. And that pushed them to be a big developer for the NES.
Play RC Pro-Am. Play with power. Pull up to the start. Taste the challenge. The power of radio control. If you can't take it, you'll eat dust. Radio controlled Pro-Am only from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power.
Another iconic game, the other series of games that created that genre along with Metroid, is going to be Castlevania. The first Castlevania is iconic. Definitely one that anyone should have in an NES collection. Castlevania came to us on April 30th, 1987. This was an action platformer developed and published by Konami. As a player, we get to control Simon Belmont, a descendant of a legendary vampire hunter. And as Simon, we are going to enter the castle of Count Dracula himself, that fabled Count Dracula, after he suddenly reappears 100 years after Simon's ancestors actually vanquished him. Castlevania is such an iconic game. From Simon Belmont and his whip to that knockback effect that puts so many of us into those pits behind us, this game is totally amazing and absolutely an essential one for an NES collection. This one's followed up by the sequel of Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, that does change the dynamic a little tiny bit, makes it a little bit different, definitely part of that Metroidvania style of game with that one. And it also has a prequel we saw on the NES with Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. The original Castlevania has a total of 18 stages, and it was actually ranked the 22nd best game made on the Nintendo Entertainment System in Nintendo Power's top 200 games they had listed in 2006. Castlevania is an epic game, definitely one to have in any collection. The other two in the series on the Nintendo, totally great games too. I would pick any of those ones to have in an NES collection, but the first one is the original. So you know I'm gonna pick it, right? Matt Lockwood 6089 says Essentials are G.I. Joe, Bubble Bobble, Power Blade, Monster Party, Super Mario Bros. 3, Castlevania 1 to 3 that we just talked about, Metroid, obviously, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the arcade, Zelda, Jackal, Crystalis, Conquest of the Crystal Palace, and Mighty Final Fight. Matt, there's definitely one in here that I'm gonna talk about next. So let's take a look at it.
Ultra's improved your favorite arcade game. First, we added 2 new levels, then packed it with bigger, stronger enemies, and a ton of extra foot soldiers. Next, we punched up the action with knockout new attack moves and crime-fighting scenes like the Ninja Castle. If that doesn't swell your shell, we made one more small adjustment. Introducing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game for your NES.
And check out our totally new Game Boy game, Turtles 2, Back in the Sewer. Whoa! It's coming soon!
Of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade, has to be in an essentials list when we're talking about the NES. The original arcade version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in October of 1989, and then, lucky for us, after that first Ninja Turtles outing we all saw on the NES, they ported this one over in 1990. This one is a beat-em-up game developed and published by Konami. The NES version we got is so cool. It's one that I know we all love. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were such a huge part of so many of our lives back then. It was such a cool game, such a fun time. This is the one that I wish we had first, that I would have never had to die in that dam level on the first one. This one, the turtles all look like they're supposed to. They all feel like they're supposed to. And in the NES version, there was some product placement with advertisements of that Pizza Hut logo. And obviously, for a lot of us, pizza was huge because the turtles loved it. This game is so cool. This game is so iconic. This is really the first time that the real Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles landed on the NES, in my opinion. The first one is another one of those games like Battletoads where a lot of us never made it past that damn level. We just couldn't do it. It was so difficult to the point that a lot of us just gave up. I feel like the difference between that original Ninja Turtles game and that original Battletoads game is, well, Battletoads was difficult. We only made it to that speeder bike level, that turbo tunnel in it. And a lot of us only ever made it to that dam level in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Battletoads was a lot more fun. It definitely felt a lot more like it was supposed to. That original Ninja Turtles game did not feel like it was supposed to, in my opinion. So when we got this one, I was so excited. This game had characters we recognized. It was so much fun. I really love this game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade on the NES, is absolutely a must-have essential in an NES collection. And I totally agree with Mr. Hollywood Boulevard here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade, Tecmo Super Bowl, and Ninja Gaiden are absolutely essentials to have in an NES collection. All right, I did it last time. We're gonna do it again. I need to know in the comments which one of these two RPGs you would pick as an essential game in your NES collection. It's gonna be Dragon Warrior, that original Dragon Warrior, which was originally Dragon Quest in Japan, or are you gonna pick Final Fantasy? If you're an RPG fan, which one of these two are you gonna pick? That original Dragon Quest game is so cool and so iconic. The box art on this one, the name, Dragon Warrior, that's something that we all knew and heard about back then. Coming to us in North America under that Dragon Warrior name in August of 1989. In this one, we take control of that young hero as we set off to defeat that being known as the Dragon Lord. In this one, they really emphasized that storytelling and brought that emotional involvement into it. They simplified the interface for us. They made this one so it was a lot easier for us to figure out. Now, in Japan, Dragon Quest was absolutely a commercial success. But with that later release of Dragon Warrior in North America, it saw less favorable reviews. That original version of the game sold more than 2 million copies worldwide, with 1.5 million sold in Japan and just 500,000 sold in the United States. Dragon Warrior is iconic. It's one that so many of us know and remember. It's one that a lot of us are going to have great memories of. So are you going to pick this one, or are you going to pick Final Fantasy? Because in Final Fantasy, we have a whole party of characters we get to play as. Coming to us in North America in July of 1990, Final Fantasy was originally conceived under the working title of Fighting Fantasy, but with trademark issues and the dire circumstances that were surrounding Square at the time, they decided to go with a name change. In this one, each character has a different character class. We had to pick 4 characters right from the start. Each class has different attributes and different abilities. We can pick between the fighter, the thief, the black belt, the red mage, the white mage, or the black mage. Final Fantasy took us on an epic adventure. This original outing of Final Fantasy saved the company of Square. That's why it's titled Final Fantasy, is because they thought this was their last chance. This was the last game they were ever going to release. And then it took off, and now we have a whole stream of Final Fantasy games. And based on this comment, I kind of think we know who Affliction 1979 would pick. Affliction says decent list, but I would add Xanadu and Final Fantasy. Me too, I would absolutely add Final Fantasy to an essentials list on the NES. But I have a really close friend, and I know he would pick Dragon Warrior. So it all depends on which game you played and which game you loved. But I want to hear in the comments, which of these two are you picking to add to an essentials list for the NES? Alan Fike says Super Dodgeball. You know what, Alan Fike? I completely agree with you. Coming to the NES in 1989, this one is loosely based on a 1987 arcade game of the same name. The NES version of Super Dodgeball expanded on the basic premise we saw in that original arcade version by giving all of the members in each team individual names and stats. This is one that I totally love. I mean, it's dodgeball. Who doesn't want to play dodgeball? In this one, the main gameplay, we're going to play as the US team as we play through a World Cup, all the way through each team until we get to that shadow team that is an evil clone of the US team. This one is super fun and it's super accessible. It's a good one to pick up and add to your NES collection. You're going to have a lot of fun with this one for sure. Each character in this one has their own life gauge that gradually is going to get depleted as we're getting struck by these dodgeballs. The fun thing about that is when a character gets hit and your life gauge is of 3 bars or lower, they're going to get placed in this tired state, and that's going to give the opponent a moment of advantage. The music is great in Super Dodgeball. The gameplay is awesome. Honestly, Super Dodgeball is an amazing pick for an essential game on the NES. So with this essentials list, I wanted to highlight some of the comments from the other video, so let's take a look at some of those. My friend Wheels8504 says, awesome list. All of those games belong in this video. I'd played most of them as an adult and enjoyed them. I'm more of a Double Dragon 2 fan, by the way. Never played or heard of River City Ransom growing up. They would add Bomberman 2, Donkey Kong Jr., and even games like Burger Time, Dr. Mario, Gorilla War, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 or 3, Nintendo World Cup is also fun, or even Super Dodgeball like we just talked about. Ultimate Basketball is a game that no one talks about, or even one of the Baseball Stars games they would add. They tell us that they're just a casual gamer who's only playing for fun. All right, it's my turn to pick a game that I think is an essential game that a lot of you folks might not have heard about. This one is an amazing game. It's my list. I'll decide here, but I'm gonna put Vice Project Doom on my essentials list. Vice Project Doom came out in November of 1991. This is a side-scrolling platformer with noticeable similarities to the Ninja Gaiden series on the NES, but in this one, we've got gun shooting and driving segments as well. Vice Project Doom consists of 11 stages. The very first level as well as the 10th level are going to be driving stages, and those ones have a real Spy Hunter feel to them. While stages 4-2 and 11-1 are actually going to be shooting stages. The rest of the levels are going to be your standard side-scrolling stages. In the main stages, our hero Hart can switch between one of 3 weapons. His laser whip, a .44 Magnum revolver, or a supply of M24 stick grenades. Now in this one, the laser whip weapon does have a pretty short range, but you can use that one indefinitely. If you're going to use the Magnum or the grenades, you're definitely going to have a limited quantity. You're going to want to pick those up as you go. You're going to want to use those a little bit sparingly. Vice Project Doom is such a cool game. I love the look of it. I love the colors they use in this game. This is a fun game. This is an interesting game. The way they make this game look is super, super cool. This is just such a great game. If you haven't played Vice Project Doom, I highly suggest it. Definitely an essential game, in my opinion, for the NES collection. We're going to come in with a knockout punch on the next one. An essential game in a Nintendo collection is going to be Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Now, while there are 2 versions of Punch-Out on the NES, Most of us are always going to associate Punch-Out with the Mike Tyson version that we saw released in 1987. Back in the day, we didn't have UFC or mixed martial arts. We had boxing. And with hit movies like the Rocky series, bringing boxing into theaters and into our living rooms, the name of Mike Tyson started filling our young ears as he literally walked through opponents and made big waves in the boxing world. Honestly, the best way Nintendo could have sold Punch-Out was to attach Mike Tyson to it. And we got him not only with his name associated with the game and his image being on the box art. This one, he was that menacing and almost unbeatable final boss in the game. This one is just a memory game. Learn the boxer's moves, have reaction time fast enough to avoid getting pummeled by them, and you'll make it to the next match. It's so fun. We all remember playing as Little Mac, that character that we all loved. This one does have a lot of interesting history behind it because of Mike Tyson's attachment to it. There's rumors that Nintendo paid Mike Tyson $50,000 over a 3-year period for his likeness for this game. And this was before Mike Tyson even became the World Heavyweight Champion in 1986. Nintendo took a real chance on Mike Tyson, and luckily he won that match, became that heavyweight champion, and then Punch-Out just flew off the shelves. After that 3-year deal ended, Nintendo just swapped the Tyson character out for Mr. Dream and just kept releasing the game. And honestly, based on what was going on with Mike Tyson at the time, that was probably the best decision for Nintendo. And despite the history behind it and the fact that we all knew who Mike Tyson was back then, the game of Punch-Out is a really solid game on the NES. This is 100% a game that I would say either version, pick it up. I'm going to go with the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out version just because that's the one I remember as a kid. But honestly, you pick up either one of them, you got a great game for your NES collection.
Power, power, power. Now, you are playing with power.
Punch-Out by Nintendo.
Play with power.
11 world-class contenders. Take them down with your controller, beat them all, and you've got a shot at Tyson's title.
Power.
But for that, you've got to beat Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power.
Castlemania Games suggests Rygar, Metroid, RC Pro-Am, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out that we just talked about, and Castlevania. Now on the NES, the original Adventure Island is just an adaptation of the Wonder Boy arcade, but after that we got a series of Adventure Island games that had no connection to Wonder Boy and were pretty awesome. I'm gonna put Adventure Island 2 on my Essentials list. This one came out in February of 1991 in North America. Adventure Island 2 is a side-scrolling platformer game similar to that first one we saw on the Nintendo, but this one had some really cool additions to it. We got those dinosaur mounts that we could pick from and ride, each with their very own powers. We could even save those guys between the levels with the new feature of that additional inventory system. The checkpoint system in this one was eliminated, so if you do die in the middle of the stage, you do have to restart from the very beginning. But unlike that first Adventure Island game we saw on the NES, the stages in this one were significantly shorter. This one we're playing as Mr. Higgins, as his girlfriend Tina has been kidnapped by the evil witch doctor's persistent followers, and now we got to go out there and try to save her. Adventure Island 2 is such a cool game. This one, if you're interested in it, definitely pick it up. The first one is gonna be frustrating. This one, with the addition of those dinosaur friends, the way the levels are set up, this is a great game. Definitely one that I would highly suggest in any NES collection. All right, we're here. This is the last one in this list. Definitely check out the other video if there's not a game in this list that you think should be on it, and leave in the comments your Essentials list. I want to know your Essentials games for the NES. For the last game in the set, we're gonna look at Ninja Gaiden. Originally an arcade game that was ported over to the NES, this version, the NES version, is one that a lot of us are gonna remember, not only as an awesome game and the ninjiest of the ninja games we had back then, but as one of the most difficult games we ever played. Ninja Gaiden's difficulty is punishing for many of us. This one is a side-scrolling platformer game with similarities to Castlevania. In this one, we're gonna play as Ryu as we battle through 20 levels of real punishment here. This one has those cool weapons. This one looks so cool. A lot of us had such a difficult time with this game, but it was a major commercial success in the United States. Any of the Ninja Gaiden games on the Nintendo Entertainment System would be a great pick to have in an NES collection. I picked the first one because this is the one that I remember getting my butt kicked in, and the one that I remember being like, I don't think I want to play Ninja Gaiden anymore. That's way too hard for me. But it's definitely one that everyone should have in their NES collection because it's the start of it all. And it's such a cool game, even if I get my butt kicked in it all the time.
Like a ghost in the moonlight, the ninja warrior stalks his prey. Unseen, unheard, and unnoticed. Mission accomplished. The final battle begins. Ninja Gaiden for Nintendo from Tecmo. Coming soon, more hard-to-beat action. Tecmo Bad News Baseball.
I know, I missed your favorite game. I missed your buddy's favorite game, the game you used to play with your family, the game that you love the most. Let me know in the comments what your essential games on the NES are gonna be, and maybe we'll do another one of these. There's so many awesome games on the Nintendo. We could do like 5 of these and we still wouldn't touch all of them.